guys, it's Ken. About to bring that boat out and see if we can start it. Well, that crank's sounding awful dry. That's what that is. It's got plenty of oil pressure. I don't like the way it sounds. Okay guys, in the last video I started the boat and it sounded like all the bearings were coming apart in the lower end. I think what would happen was, hopefully, we got our fingers crossed again, knock on wood, that WD-40 I sprayed in the engine, and who knows who else sprayed what, put in the oil or whatever, but whenever I started this project, the oil looked pretty decent and it was on a full mark. I did spray a bunch of WD-40 in there, like one of those big cans, and I'm thinking maybe that oil is just shot. So I'm going to drain the oil. The pump. Alright, that put us a quart over, so I guess it's the 5-quart engine. I'm really surprised. I thought this thing would really hold like 8 quarts. So we're going to stop right there. And I'm going to pull it out with the lawnmower again, set up the camera, put the hose on it, and see what happens. We've got our fingers crossed. I think I got you guys with me for a reason. See you on the other side. Water coming out the back. We're ready, man. The battery gauge works. Well, I don't know, man. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the motor. Something's loose. It's like the flywheel's loose or something. I don't know. Sure runs good though. Well, I'm going to end it on a neutral note. I have no idea. But I really don't think there's anything wrong with the engine. Smokes like crazy when you first start it up, but it's just so full of gas. We got this far. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's Ken, and what I'm about to do is pull this motor out of this boat. I'm pretty sure that the noise is in the drivetrain of the pump, which would be, it's not necessarily in the pump, it's the U-joints, the axle that drives the shaft for the pump. So that's what we're going to work on. It's either the U-joints, and there's a bearing in the front of the shaft. It sounds almost like that bearing could be seizing, but I'm not really sure. And one other thing I wanted to show you guys on that last video, when I had the motor running, I had a hose, I'll show you. I had a hose hooked up right there. That's where I had the hose hooked up to. So, and then there was a valve behind it. What that valve does, it shuts the water off from going to the back of the pump, and so it'll actually run through the motor. So what I did is I started it. I started the motor, and the water ran all up through the motor here, but nothing ran in the back of the pump. And there's a propeller inside that pump back there. Right, this big drum right here, there's a propeller up inside there, and it pulls water. Once the boat's submerged, all this fills with water, and so it actually pulls water from the bottom. There's a hole, a big square hole in the bottom of the boat with a grate, so it doesn't pick up a bunch of rocks. And once that propeller turns, it's full of water. That pulls that water up through there and forces it out here. Well, it should be in water, and that's what basically gives that, basically lubes that brush, that bushing. So that lubes the bushing where the propeller kind of touches that going around. So it's aluminum against brass. The guy at the boat shop told me, he said, doesn't really recommend it, but most guys will do this. What they do is they go underneath and they'll put a sprinkler and they'll shoot water up into that propeller, and that's enough water to give it, lubrication. Or I guess you could lay under there and squirt it with WD-40 or something, but if you got, like I said, if you got a sprinkler, a hose with a good jet nozzle or something on it, you stick it up under there and make it where it won't move and where it's shooting water up inside there, and then you can start your boat. Now that's what he said people do. He said he didn't recommend it, but I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, look at me, I did it without any water. So I may end up having to take this off and actually replacing that bushing. And I'm pretty sure the propeller's been replaced recently. It actually feels pretty good. So I don't know. Well, he said when you get out in the water, it kind of acts like you got a bad torque converter in your car. It like wants to rev up and down. What it is, it's losing its prime basically. So it's losing pressure. So I got my fingers crossed on that. So I'm just telling you guys right now, just don't hook a water hose up here and turn that off and run your motor, because what you're doing is you're actually turning this shaft and everything, and it does run in a bushing. Other than that, the bearings are okay. There's not much there, but that bushing, you want water on it at least. So that's a little trick. Now getting back to where I'm at here, I'm about to pull this motor, so I have to pull these things here. They have to come loose. That's the exhaust, and they're attached to the boat, so that'll come loose. I have to take my throttle cable loose right here, and there is a wiring. There's a wire comes right around here. It's a temperature gauge wire and goes around. There's some wiring. There's a wiring harness right here that I'll have to be careful not pull my wires loose. I'm about to pull this alternator, and I'm going to try to pull that pulley up in there. So I can get it on it for you. There it is. See that pulley there? And between the pulley and the back of the seat, which is where the gas tank is, I can't do anything with that. So I'm gonna probably have to go ahead and pull the pulley and pull the alternator, and that'll give me a couple more inches. And what should happen then is right back here. Whenever I pull that apart, there's a drive shaft in there. Maybe I can get where you guys can see it. Okay. See that hole there? You see the drive shaft in there and the U-joints. That's what I think is bad. Now right about here there's a bearing, and that could be bad.